What if I told you that just beyond our solar system, there's a planet that might not just support life, but already be home to it? Not in a distant future, not in a sci-fi fantasy, but right now. And what if we've already detected the signs, the fingerprints, the molecular whispers of life, streaming toward us through the vast emptiness of space? This isn't fiction. It's not another alien hoax or blurry photo from a conspiracy forum. This is science, hard data coming directly from the most powerful space observatory humans have ever created, the James Webb Space Telescope, and what it's found is shattering expectations. We've heard stories before. Venus had phosphine, Mars has methane, but this is different. This time the evidence is stronger, more consistent, more alien. The planet in question? K218b. It orbits a red dwarf star 120 light-years away in the constellation Leo. From Earth, it's invisible to the naked eye, just a whisper of light buried in the void. But to James Webb, it's a goldmine of discovery. K2-18b is part of a newly proposed and mysterious class of exoplanets known as Hecyan Worlds, a term that combines hydrogen and ocean. These are not your typical rocky planets like Earth or barren gas giants like Jupiter. Hecyan planets are believed to be rich in hydrogen and entirely covered by vast, deep global oceans that may stretch hundreds of kilometers deep. Much deeper than anything we have on Earth. Their thick, hydrogen-rich atmospheres act like insulating blankets, potentially keeping the oceans warm, even if the planets are far from their stars. This creates a stable and consistent environment where life could not only emerge but thrive. Imagine a world that's not just slightly habitable, but one that may offer better conditions for life than Earth ever has. Warmer waters, fewer climate extremes, and chemical stability for billions of years. These aren't Earth 2.0 candidates. They could be more like Earth +1, alien water worlds where the ingredients for life simmer quietly beneath alien skies. In the vast gallery of planetary types in the universe, Hecyan planets might just be the dark horses in our quest. Not the ones we expected, but the ones most likely to surprise us. And here's the kicker. They might be common. That means the galaxy could be littered with potential ocean worlds, each one silently cooking up life in the cosmic slow cooker. So what's the big deal about K218b? The James Webb Space Telescope, humanity's most powerful eye in the sky, recently turned its attention to K218b, and what it found could change everything. When scientists analyzed the planet's atmosphere using Webb's advanced spectroscopic tools, they detected methane and carbon dioxide, two gases that often point to active geological or even biological processes. But then came the real shocker, signs of dimethyl sulfide, or DMS. Here on Earth, DMS has a very specific origin: life. More precisely, it's produced almost exclusively by microscopic marine plankton, tiny organisms that drift through our oceans and breathe life into our planet's ecosystems. What makes this discovery so electrifying is that there is no known non-biological process that creates DMS in significant quantities. It doesn't bubble up from volcanoes. It doesn't form in deep space through chemistry alone. It is, as far as we know, a byproduct of biology, living things doing what living things do. So when we spot traces of DMS in the atmosphere of a distant ocean-covered planet like K218b, we're left with two possibilities. Either the universe just played the greatest chemical prank in cosmic history, or, more thrillingly, more profoundly, we're not alone. Somewhere out there, beneath alien waves and clouds of hydrogen, life could be thriving in ways we've never imagined. Let that sink in. We might be detecting alien plankton, tiny, invisible organisms living in vast alien oceans, breathing, growing, reproducing, sending molecular messages across 120 light-years of space. This isn't the shrieking xenomorph from Aliens or the cloaked hunter from Predator. This is quieter, stranger, more real. The presence of methane and carbon dioxide alongside dimethyl sulfide doesn't just raise eyebrows. It significantly strengthens the case for alien life. In astrobiology, This trio forms what scientists refer to as a biosignature combination.
Oftentimes when we think about biosignatures, we think about signs of past life, usually preserved in the rock record, sometimes preserved in atmospheric gases or anything like that. But in general, what it is it's an indication not necessarily of a particular living thing at this moment, but a sign that there was life in an environment or in a place sometime in the past.
A specific pattern of atmospheric gases that, when found together, almost always points to one thing: life. On Earth, methane and carbon dioxide don't coexist in stable concentrations unless biological processes are constantly replenishing them. Left to nature alone, through geology or chemistry, they quickly fall out of balance. It's like trying to keep oil and water perfectly mixed without a blender. It just doesn't happen unless something is actively intervening. So when James Webb detected this exact chemical pattern, drifting in the thick, hazy atmosphere of a planet over 700 trillion miles away, it wasn't just an odd reading, it was a whisper from the cosmos. A message, perhaps, written not in language but in molecules. A pattern that we've seen before, right here at home, now echoing from a world we never expected. It's not just about the presence of these gases individually, it's about their delicate balance, one that hints at something alive working quietly beneath the waves or within the clouds of this mysterious ocean planet. The discovery has sent shockwaves through the scientific world and beyond. Astrobiologists are recalibrating their models, planetary scientists are poring over fresh data, and even theologians are beginning to wrestle with the spiritual and philosophical implications of what it all could mean. Is this the moment we've been waiting for? The first tangible hint that we're not alone in the universe? The first whisper of alien life across the vast gulf of space? But before we go full contact, the classic sci-fi scenario of first contact and cosmic communion, let's hit pause. This isn't a direct detection of alien organisms waving hello. There's no image of a creature, no alien signal pinging through space. What we have is evidence, strong, compelling, statistically solid, but not yet conclusive. It's a trail of breadcrumbs, not the feast itself. And that's the nature of science. It builds, slowly and meticulously, one data point at a time. We need more observations, deeper readings, repeated confirmations. Still, the trajectory is undeniable. Everything about this discovery is pointing in one astonishing direction: that the universe may be more alive than we ever dared to believe. If what we found on K218b holds up under scrutiny, it could redefine biology, astronomy, even our own identity as a species. The implications aren't just scientific, they're existential. Are we part of a cosmic community? Has life emerged in other corners of the galaxy, perhaps countless times? If so, everything changes, from how we look at the stars to how we look at ourselves. Now stop and really think about this for a second. Hecyan worlds like K218b may not just be warm pools for microbial soup. Their oceans, deep, dark, and shielded by thick hydrogen atmospheres, could remain stable for billions of years. Longer, in fact, than Earth has even existed. That's a staggering idea, because on Earth, it took nearly 4 billion years for intelligent life to emerge. But if K218b had a head start, what might have evolved? Not just cells, not just simple organisms, but intelligence, advanced intelligence, civilizations that have had the luxury of cosmic time to rise, adapt, and evolve in ways we can't begin to imagine. This isn't just speculation. It's the next logical step in a universe teeming with possibilities. It brings to mind Arrival, that haunting film where beings come not with weapons, but with language, with knowledge, with an entirely different relationship to time itself. In that story, the aliens don't think like we do. They experience time non-linearly, communicating in a way that transcends our understanding. Could something similar exist beneath the oceans of a world like K218b? Imagine a species that's lived submerged for eons, one that communicates through pulses of light, waves of bioluminescence, or bursts of sonar, like Earth's whales, but far more complex. Creatures that don't build cities of stone and metal, but networks of thought, memory, and sound. Entire civilizations that float rather than stand. That passed down knowledge not in books, but in resonance. And here's the truly mind-blowing part. If they evolved in an ocean beneath dense clouds, they may have never seen the stars. They may not even know the universe is out there. To them, the sky is just a blurry ceiling. Yet if we reach them, if one day we find a way to communicate, we may not just be making first contact, we might be the first to show them the cosmos. It flips the narrative. We're not just explorers. We could be ambassadors to a civilization that's been waiting, evolving, dreaming, in the deep. Here's another mindbender, one that flips our entire concept of alien life on its head. If there truly is life on K218b and it's thriving beneath a thick atmosphere and vast planet-spanning oceans, then it's very possible that such life has never even seen the stars. Imagine that. A civilization, potentially intelligent, evolving in the dark silence beneath endless waters, completely unaware of the universe above. No sunrises, no constellations, no moon to dream by, just darkness, pressure, and the rhythms of a liquid world. Now think of James Cameron's The Abyss, where humanity makes contact not in orbit, not on some alien surface, but in the crushing silence of the deep sea. That idea might not be fiction after all. If K2-18b harbors intelligent life, it could be submarine. Creatures adapted not for walking but swimming, not for speech, but for sonar songs that ripple through the black water like music. Maybe they navigate glowing coral forests with bioluminescent skin, or use electric pulses to communicate and hunt. Maybe their civilizations exist in massive underwater caverns powered by geothermal vents, their entire history written in bubbles and echoes. And here's the real kicker. What if they've already tried to reach out? What if their technology, their curiosity, pushed them to broadcast signals, not with radio waves, but with pressure pulses or magnetic fields or chemical trails? Signals we've never even thought to look for. If we're expecting aliens to use satellites and space beacons, we might be missing the ones who speak through currents and vibration, who wonder if there's something above, beyond, but who have no sky to look at, only hope buried in the dark. Some researchers studying the K2-18 system have reported something strange. Faint, repeating radio signals, barely there, like a whisper in a storm. These weren't obvious messages, nothing like a hello in Morse code, but they weren't just random noise either. The signals came in rhythmic pulses with mathematical ratios embedded in their patterns. Not the kind of things stars or gas clouds usually produce. These were non-random, measured, structured, like something or someone trying to be understood. Sound familiar? It should. That's contact all over again. Think of Jodie Foster sitting alone with her headphones on, staring at a signal repeating over and over. Numbers, prime sequences, patterns that scream intelligence, patterns that say, "We are here." The emotional weight of that moment isn't just cinematic, it's universal. It touches something deep inside us, that longing to connect, to not be alone. Of course, there are skeptics. Could it be a stellar flare mimicking a signal? A glitch in the data? A cosmic coincidence? Sure, those possibilities are on the table. That's the beauty and curse of science. It forces us to challenge our hopes with cold, hard logic. But if we've learned one thing from the universe, it's that it is often far stranger than we expect. The most astonishing ideas have a way of turning out true. The late Carl Sagan, the poet of the cosmos, once said, "The universe is a pretty big place. If it's just us, seems like an awful waste of space." And maybe, just maybe, that waste is finally over. We may be crossing the threshold, moving from lonely observations into cosmic dialogue. What if the question has already been answered, and all we have to do now is learn how to listen? Let's step back for a second. What happens to us, humans, if this turns out to be true? Religions might adapt, philosophers will debate, politicians will posture. But one thing will change permanently: our identity. For all of history, we've been the only known example of life, the golden fluke. But if there's another, suddenly we're not the exception, we're the rule. And if microbial life is common, then intelligent life might not be so rare either. So, what comes next? The discovery is only the beginning. Scientists around the world are gearing up for the next phase of exploration. The James Webb Space Telescope will continue to peer into the atmosphere of K2-18b and other exoplanets, but it won't be alone for long. The extremely large telescope, yes, that's literally what it's called, is currently rising from the deserts of Chile. When it goes online, it will be the most powerful optical telescope ever built, capable of detecting even the faintest flickers from distant suns in their hidden planets. With it, we'll be able to do more than just detect gas. We'll analyze entire atmospheric fingerprints. We'll search for seasonal variations, just like Earth experiences as it orbits the sun. Signs of active, changing ecosystems. And then comes the most thrilling leap. Direct imaging. Not just data points, but pictures. Real views of alien worlds. Imagine seeing clouds drifting across an ocean-covered planet, watching massive storms swirl across a gas giant's surface, spotting continents, polar caps, or maybe something else entirely. Because here's where the science fiction starts edging closer to science fact: artificial light. That's right. Some astronomers are now scanning the night sides of exoplanets for tiny glows that shouldn't be there. Not lightning, not lava, but the cold, steady signature of electricity, like city lights seen from orbit. Imagine finding a planet where the day side is dark, but the night side glows in a perfect grid. A signal not of nature, but of civilization. It sounds impossible until you realize that's exactly how Earth would look to a distant observer. Our cities burn bright in the darkness. Our lights tell a story from space. So what if we found a planet that glows in return? What then? Would it be a signal or an invitation? Let's entertain one more possibility, a darker, more haunting one. What if intelligent life once existed on K2-18b, but is now gone? What if that planet, cloaked in clouds and drowned in endless oceans, once echoed with alien voices, voices that fell silent millions of years ago? Picture the ruins of a forgotten civilization, their cities now sunken beneath crushing tides, their technology rusting in abyssal silence. No monuments reaching for the sky, just ancient machines, lifeless temples, and fossilized dreams hidden in the dark. It sounds like science fiction, but not entirely. In Prometheus, we watched as explorers traveled across the stars to uncover the bones of a once great alien race, their secrets scattered on a distant moon. It wasn't a journey of diplomacy, but of archaeology, a search not for life, but for legacy. Could we one day do the same? Not just scan for biosignatures in exoplanet atmospheres, but send robotic submarines to plunge beneath Hecyan waves? Could our future probes become deep-sea archaeologists, revealing ancient artifacts instead of microbes? And what if we find evidence of extinction? Not just life, but the end of it. Would that serve as a warning? A mirror of our own fragile trajectory? These aren't just thrilling what-ifs. They're becoming real scientific questions. Because for the first time in human history, we have the tools, the technology, and the tantalizing data to begin looking. We are living in a moment that future generations may remember as the great turning point, the instant when humanity truly looked beyond Earth, not just as dreamers, but as discoverers. When we stopped asking if we're alone and started asking who's out there or who used to be. It's thrilling, it's terrifying, it's overwhelming, but more than anything, it's real. The stars are no longer silent. The oceans of distant worlds may no longer be empty. The universe is beginning to whisper its secrets, and for the first time, we are learning to listen. And maybe, just maybe, we're not the only ones looking. Maybe we're being watched too, not by hostile invaders, not by monsters lurking in shadows, but by something far more compelling. Explorers, scientists, observers. Beings as curious about us as we are about them. Not sailing down in giant motherships, but quietly, patiently, listening. Imagine them intercepting our radio waves, analyzing decades of Earth's transmissions, our music, our wars, our laughter, our language. Maybe they're studying our species like we study distant galaxies, waiting, watching, wondering. Are we dangerous? Are we kind? Are we ready? It brings to mind the day the Earth stood still, that haunting classic where an advanced civilization sends a visitor not to conquer, but to warn. A test of humanity's wisdom, a quiet judgment. Maybe something similar is happening right now. Not an invasion, but an invitation. One we don't yet understand. And that's the heart of the mystery, isn't it? Not just whether life exists out there, but what kind of life? What kind of minds? What kind of hopes and fears and dreams might exist beyond our solar system? We imagine aliens as predators, as parasites. But what if they're philosophers, artists? What if they've been waiting for the right moment, not to strike, but to say hello? So as we gaze into the skies, as our instruments pierce deeper into the cosmos, maybe we should remember, we're not just looking out, we're also being seen. And that thought, it changes everything, because it means we're part of the story now, not the center of the universe, but a voice in a growing cosmic chorus. The stars have waited billions of years for someone to listen, and perhaps now they're listening back. So here's the big question. What do you think? If we're detecting dimethyl sulfide in technosignatures 120 light years away, is that enough to call it? Are we alone? Or have we just found the first glimmer of cosmic company? Let us know in the comments, and tell us this. If you could say one sentence to an alien civilization watching us, what would it be? Because the stars are whispering, and it's time we start whispering back. This is exhilarating discoveries, where we don't just ask if we're alone, we search for proof. And sometimes we find it, like subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because the next discovery could change everything. And when it does, you'll hear it here first.